Good evening, everyone. My name is Dennis Argel. Welcome back to Festival Fun Facts, where we live stream from my house to yours with information about the New Jersey State Solo and Ensemble Festival. This is our fourth stream. Very happy to have brought lots of folks some information about three different topics. So the first week we had the students of J.P. Stevens and all the great accomplishments that they had with regards to their participation in the festival and all the gold 1 stars that their students won. The second week, we highlighted students from Bayonne, Passaic, Elizabeth, and Newark, brothers and sisters from the urban districts who participated and had great successes and accessibility and opportunities that they normally wouldn't have, and talking about their experiences. Last week, another great story to tell was we had 162 gold 1-star winners for our festival. And there were 8 students in the state who received gold 1 stars in 2 different categories. So we had all of them on last week with their teachers to talk about their experiences. We are here tonight as a part of, sponsored by Arts Ed New Jersey and Music for All. Music for All provided the platform for us for registration, supporting us from a technical standpoint, and Competition Suite, which is our platform that we use for our adjudication purposes. We are also partnering with the New Jersey Symphony Orchestra, and if you stay to the end of this stream tonight, you're going to be treated to a special surprise with another partner that's coming on board, and which deals directly with us in our topic this evening. A couple of nuts and bolts that I want to get to before we bring in our first team of students and teacher. Tonight's the 7th of April. Registration for the upcoming Spring and State Festival the deadline is April 15th, which is next Thursday. So please, I know it's spring break or you're just coming back from spring break, make sure that you get those registrations in. Things are going well, but I know there's a lot more to sign up. The other thing is that permission requests are due by tomorrow. So that is if you're performing a selection that doesn't appear on a repertoire list, there's a document that you need to complete called the permission request form. Very simple document. If you have any questions, reach out to me at dennis@artsednj.org. Actually, maybe I can see if I can find that. Yeah. There we go. You can reach me here and ask a question about any documents or forms you may need more information about, and I'd be happy to help you with that. But that deadline's tomorrow. Probably work with you and extend it if you need to, because we want those kids registered, right? We want to help you out. And the last thing I want to mention is, one of our very generous donors, the Grunin Foundation, who are board members with Arts Ed NJ, very generously are donating scholarships to any and all students who are in need of that assistance for registration. No student will go away or be turned away because of a lack of ability to pay for the registration. And the only paperwork that's needed is a form filled out by the director, by the teacher, indicating the need of the student. No other materials will be necessitated, and it's done on a confidential basis. So please, if you're not doing the festival because the potential cost of the registration fee, please go ahead and complete the registration, and we'll get you the scholarship code. Another form has to be filled out, very simple form, but that code is immediately shared so you can register. All right, let's get to tonight's topic. I thought a great area to address and shine some light on were the multiple students who received gold 1 stars in the area of jazz for this festival. In a previous iteration of my professional life, I worked for an organization called Jazz House Kids as their music director and of education and music. And I'm a proponent of that art form as America's art form. And I wanted to bring to light the successes that the students in our festival had with that art form. We had four amazing adjudicators actually for the jazz area: Alexa Tarantino, Michael Mossman, Dr. Jeffrey Kunkel, and Brandon Robertson from Florida, actually, 2 New York musicians. Dr. Kunkel, who was formerly from Pittsburgh, taught in Montclair State, and was a fixture there for many, many years, retired, and is now back in Pittsburgh. And then Brandon Robertson from University in Florida was with us. So I wanted to bring to light that art form and share some of the stories of those students and their journey to and through the New Jersey State Solo and Ensemble Festival. So with us tonight, our first guests from Scotch Plains-Fanwood High School. We have Mr. Duran Thomas, the band director, Niraika Monga, who was the Gold One-Star winner in jazz performance, and then two other students, Brandon Greenberg and Vikram Ravishankar, who also Gold One-Starred, not necessarily in jazz, but they're both saxophonists. We unfortunately had some guests that were unable to make it this evening because of spring break or just coming back, and I hope they're having a good time and enjoying this wonderful weather. But we really wanted to highlight the students of Scotch Plains-Fanwood. I'm a big fan of that program. I know Mr. Thomas for many, many years, and I've adjudicated some of his ensembles as well, and familiar with the legacy of the Moonglowers and the programming there. So I'm thrilled to have them with us this evening. And I understand we're going to start with a short performance, an excerpt by the Gold One-Star winner, Niraika Monga, who's going to perform a little bit of All the Things You Are. Is that correct, Niraika?
No, it's going to be There Will Never Be Another You, actually.
Oh, well, there we go. There will never be another chance for me to make the mistake with that title. So please, whenever you're ready, we'd love to hear you play.
All right, thank you so much.
Yeah, sweet. Nicely done. Nicely done.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. It's nice, command of the language there. Well done. Appreciate that, Niraika. Mr. Thomas, nice to see you again, sir. Always a pleasure.
Always my pleasure.
Can you talk a little bit and share with us a little bit about your students' journey with the festival and how they came to know about it and prepare? And let's hear their stories.
Absolutely, Mr. Arl. And before I do so, I just want to say how happy I am to be a part of this. I think this is a great vehicle for these students, Niraika, Brandon, and Vikram, as well as all of the other almost 1,000 students that participated, and certainly wouldn't have happened were it not for your efforts. And I know you had a very small team of helpers to getting us there, but I think it's great. New Jersey needs more things like this. So hats off to you, sir, and for making this happen. So that's the first thing. So, as far as their journey, I think it's very interesting one. I think the three of these students have had a very interesting path. When I found out about this festival, I think it was on an email that was generated, and I thought this is great. I know a lot of students were void of opportunities for performances and with things like region band and some of the ensemble things that really just didn't get to happen due to the pandemic. And I think there was a lot of students that were feeling a void, and one that was filled by this opportunity. And I approached them. I don't know if it was a virtual at that time meetings about what would you think of this, and I floated them the link to check some of these things out. And I think there was initially a little bit of apprehension just because of life, right? Life was kind of intense, and they all three of these students do a lot, and not just with the arts, but academically. And so to try to maintain that balance of the arts and sciences is always a challenge. And I think they find that this thing called music is a really interesting yin and yang kind of thing that they do. And certainly I benefit from that and having them in the ensemble. And I'm not telling you anything you don't know as far as making virtual rehearsals happen, trying to keep them interesting. And one thing it did do was it afforded me the opportunity to provide other things beyond performance opportunities, or rehearsals, I should say. I know I got to share with them a lot of, videos and other kinds of things. And, we talked a lot about, the art of, this great American music called jazz, and some of the folks that got us there, highlighting Women's History Month, and highlighting Black History Month, and highlighting just a lot of opportunities for them to talk through, not just view or play this great music. So that's kind of how they got it started. Obviously, they had to talk with their own families and private teachers about, hey, how do we craft this, or what might I play, and so forth. And I was ecstatic to hear that they were going to be willing to take that next step toward the performances. And I think I'll let them talk about it, but I think they thought it was a overall positive experience, even once they got beyond the college auditions and all these kinds of things that I'm sure they're going to talk about. But it was great to hear them, and I'm just so glad that they took a part. So once again, thank you, and thank these kids for making times in their schedules to make it work.
That's awesome. Thanks again, Mr. Thomas. It's a lot of good stuff there. That's what we were trying to do when we designed this festival, was to provide that opportunity for the students, just because of the need. And we're very happy that to be able to provide that. So, Ninika, please tell us about your preparation for the festival. What made you select that piece? Was it from the repertoire list? Was it something you had already worked on? Talk to us. What were your decision-making process?
So when Mr. Thomas told me about this competition, I was actually pretty busy with some school stuff. I think it might have been like towards the end of the semester or whatever. So I decided to do a piece that I've known for quite some time. That way it'd be easy for me to improvise on it. So There Will Never Be Another You is probably like the second or third jazz standard I ever learned. So I have a pretty good handle on improvising it over it, or writing an introduction or whatever for it. So that's what I chose. And then my piano teacher also thought it was a good idea. So he and I worked together on it for this.
And when you did the recording process, did you find it, let me ask you this, how many takes did it take for you to be happy with the submission and say, okay, this is the one I want to submit?
It took more than I expected, because I think I'd been used to doing audio only recordings. So when I had to do one with a video and also an introduction, I didn't realize how much time it adds to the whole thing. So
Yeah.
it probably took maybe 1 or 2 full days. I spent the entire day just working on it. But I think it was worth it, because now I also have a recording for myself, of me playing something well, which I might not otherwise have been able to get with all of these events and things being closed up now.
Great. Well, we appreciate that. And that's one of the good things. Maybe Mr. Thomas could agree. I don't know about Vikram and Brandon too. One of the good things about this challenging time is when you're kind of compelled to make a recording of yourself, it teaches you a skill that we normally wouldn't be addressing if it was a quote unquote regular jazz ensemble or band setting, right? It would be all about the group, not the individual. And it would be about what's going on in the classroom or the stage, not necessarily in a recording studio. So it's teaching you a whole different skill set. And the band directors loved it, and the teachers loved it, because if you spend 2 days doing takes to be happy with your submission, then that means you were practicing. and that's what we want from the students anyway, is to get in that shed, right, and spend the time. So that's great.
Absolutely. 100%.
Brandon, how about you? You want to talk to us a little bit about how you prepared and submitted?
Yeah, sure. So the piece I performed, the Wolfgang Jacobi Sonata for alto saxophone, was actually one of the pieces that I prepared for my college auditions this past fall. So I had worked on it for many hours coming into the festival. When Mr. Thomas brought it up to us, my immediate reaction was definitely a little bit of hesitation, because this was something that I've never really done before and something that was very new to me. I had just started recording my college auditions at the time, so it was definitely an experience setting up a huge makeshift recording studio in my own room. But then once I started recording and seeing how comfortable I could get in front of the camera and with the audio, I really enjoyed just playing again and knowing that it was going to be shown to an audience, which it's been so long since we've been able to do that live, and hopefully we'll be able to do that soon, of course. But yeah, I feel very strongly about the opportunities like this, and I was really grateful to be a part of it.
That's great. Thank you for sharing that, Brandon. Appreciate that. Let me ask you a follow-up question, if you don't mind. Is the recording that you used for the festival going to be a recording that you use to submit for college auditions? Is it one and the same, or?
Yes, it was. It is one of the same. And I'm happy to say that other people thought it was pretty good as well, and I got accepted. So I'm going to music school. So
that's awesome. Can you share where?
I have not made a decision yet, but I have I have a lot of good music schools, which unfortunately I can't go to all of them, which is definitely a bummer because there are a lot of great programs that I have at my disposal. But I'm very grateful.
That's awesome. I have to, by the way, I'm sorry, I'm a little bit ahead of myself. Before I get to Vikram, I have to explain to the audience a little bit in the few minutes that remain. So all the students that you see here received a gold 1-star rating, which means that they scored at the highest level of our rubric between a score of 28 to 30, 30 being the highest score. And they also, the reason that they're 1 star is because they performed repertoire that was of the most difficult level, the A-level repertoire. So not only did they get a superior score in technique, musicianship, and tone quality, intonation, but they did so under very difficult repertoire. Let's get to Vikram. We only have 3 or 4 minutes left, and I want to hear his story. Vikram, can you tell us a little bit about what your journey was?
So yeah, Mr. Thomas told me about this organization and the audition during a band rehearsal, and I'm like, this is something I really want to do because back then when he first told us, as far as I knew, Regions was canceled because that's the main thing I do every year. Thankfully it wasn't. I guess they uncanceled it this year, so I was able to audition for that too. And so I thought this would be really good, something to like warm me back up. Not even warm me back up, but it's something I really wanted to do too, because I knew a lot of other people who were doing it, and I wanted to do it as well. My private teacher told me about this too, and Mr. Tolentino at New Jersey Symphony told me this too, and they all mentioned it. So I figured that if everyone's talking about it, and it looks like something I should really do, because it seems like something that would be a really good experience for me, which is why I chose to do it.
That's awesome. Yeah, you'll be happy to know that Mr. Tolentino's in the green room right now with some of his students from Newark Academy, and then later on some of your colleagues from the New Jersey Youth Symphony Jazz Program. So we can see how huge New Jersey is, but and the music world is, but there's connections everywhere, right? So that's amazing that you've got so many influential, really great teachers and musicians in your life, Vikram. That's awesome. So just a couple of seconds here, guys, or a couple of minutes. Talk to me about the feedback you got from your judges. Those of you who were able to listen. Ninaika, let's go back to you. Was it helpful to listen to somebody else give you information that perhaps supported what your teacher was saying, or maybe give you something different to think about?
So my judge was Dr. Kunkel from Montclair State, and it was really great to hear from him, actually, because in jazz piano, like the only criticism I've really received on my music is from Mr. Thomas and my personal piano teacher, Mr. Greg Natick. So even like I have very few friends that play piano and basically none that play jazz piano. So I received like no outside criticism basically. So it was great to hear a new opinion from someone who's obviously so well renowned in everything that he does in jazz piano. So yeah, the critiques he gave were, some of it I was expecting, and some of it was just completely new stuff that I hadn't heard at all before. So it was really great to hear that new perspective. So I really appreciate you holding this competition and everything. It's been a really great experience.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm assuming that the three of you are going to be performing again for the state festival. Awesome. Awesome. Don't forget, if you haven't registered yet, registration ends next Thursday. So please make sure we do that. Mr. Thomas, we get back to you, sir, in our closing moments. I want to give you a chance to share and I'll put you on I don't want to put you on the spot, but if there's something going on with Scotch Plains-Fanwood, are there any upcoming performances that you want to share with us that we can keep an eye out for?
Yeah, right now we're, believe it or not, in spring marching band mode. I know that's a little atypical, but it was certainly a big void, specifically for our seniors, and we're able to do something like that. So Friday, May the 7th, will be a performance for those students.
Right.
We're also looking at June the 2nd, I believe. We're looking for a performance, kind of what would be our spring concert for all of our instrumental ensembles. So those are two big things that are coming up that we're very, very excited about.
Well, thanks very much for sharing that. And we'll be sure to, make sure you tell your friends and colleagues to watch the stream and get those dates at a later time. So Niraika, Vikram, and Brandon, thank you so much for being here tonight and sharing your skills and stories with us. I very much look forward to seeing you again for the state festival, because you all qualified as Gold 1-star students to get that level of information from our adjudicators and recognition for your accomplishments. Mr. Thomas, again, always a pleasure to see you, sir. And I hope it's not too long again before we do that again, okay? Absolutely. So let's say bye to our Scotch Plains-Fanwood folks while we bring in the students from Newark Academy and their teacher, Mr. Tolentino. Take care, guys.
Thank you again, Mr. Argo. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, we got Mr. Tolentino. We have Ben Collins Siegel. We have Mr. Slocum, and we have Skywalker Lee and Ben Schwartz. Am I missing anybody? I think that's it, right? I don't see anybody else in the waiting room unless they were banged out. Hello, everybody. Mr. Tolentino, Mr. Slocum. Welcome back to Mr. Slocum. He's a repeat guest here. Here last week. How are you?
Good
Mr.
to see you, Dennis.
How are you, sir? You're muted somehow. I can't hear you. Is it just me that can't hear Mr. Tolentino? Okay. Let's say hi to the kids here. Mr. Skywalker Lee, how are you, sir?
Good. How are you?
Nice to meet you. Ben Collins Siegel, nice to see you again, sir.
You too. Thanks.
And Mr. Schwartz, good to see you. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. So, Julius, are you back with us?
I'm here. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Yes, sir. Absolutely. Perfect.
Oh, nice.
So, Mr. Tolentino, Mr. Slocum are going to be with us for two segments. Those of you who are watching at home on the live stream, because they're both faculty members at Newark Academy, which the students that we have in front of us now. And they also, Mr. Tolentino is the director of, and Mr. Slocum is a faculty member, and correct me if I'm wrong, but of the New Jersey Youth Symphony Jazz Program. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. Awesome. So let me turn it over to Mr. Tolentino. Let's hear from you and your students about the journey that they've taken so far with the New Jersey State and Solo and Ensemble Festival, and what the next steps are. Let's talk.
Well, I think any opportunity that students get to audition for something is a great opportunity. Just going through I tell them all the time, even if you don't feel like you're ready, just going through the audition process is going to allow you to grow in so many different ways as a musician. Push yourself to really be analytical. You're playing, recording yourself, and this was like a perfect opportunity that we'll definitely be continuing to do each year, I think, because the students got so much out of it. And with the jazz students, I felt like, it wasn't as, time taking as like learning a whole couple movements of a concerto or something. They could learn a tune, really work on it hard, and then record it and get some really valuable feedback. And it allowed them to really, listen back a lot more to themselves than I think they ever have, in any other audition process that they've gone through, whether it be regions or all states. I think this really made them listen a lot deeper and a lot more.
That's a great perspective. I hadn't considered that one. Thanks for sharing that, Mr. Tolentino. Yeah. Mr. Slocum, do you have anything to add or a different perspective or support that?
Yeah, I like what Mr. T was saying. Actually, the aspect of having it pre-recorded this year was sort of interesting because, it's kind of like being in the recording studio where you can do multiple takes and you can go back and really analyze and stuff. And I don't know, I felt like it maybe even pushed them harder, because they could had more control over what the final take was going to be and stuff like that.
Yeah, we were just talking with Mr. Thomas from Scotch Plains-Fanwood, and as former band director myself, and he's still in the classroom. Both of you, we always, in a traditional quote unquote normal year, we always wish that we had an opportunity to teach these kinds of skills of how to record yourself and self-assess really deep down into weeds, right? Because we're always worried about the concert and the ensemble. And this was a great opportunity in the midst of a challenge to present that opportunity. So it worked out well in a lot of ways. Let me share with the audience, as I did with the previous group, that one of the students, unfortunately, Noah Chernomas, was unable to be with us this evening, but Skywalker Lee, what is your instrument, Skywalker?
I play the tenor saxophone.
Tenor saxophone. Skywalker scored a 29 out of 30 in the ratings for this particular festival. I think your adjudicator was Alexa Tarantino, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Awesome. Ben Schwartz on drum set. I believe you played drum set for this one, right? Correct? I don't have it listed. A 28 out of 30, gold 1 star as well. And I think you had Chris Romanowski was your adjudicator. Is that correct? Right. And I know Mr. Slocum probably shared some great news that we have an additional. We had some really outstanding adjudicators for the festival, but always trying to get better and move in as positive direction to get the students great information. And Mr. Slocum suggested to me a great jazz artist who might be interested in being one of our adjudicators, and he's accepted it. And that's going to be Mr. John Riley. He's going to be checking out our drummers for the state festival. So
Awesome.
you're going to get some great information.
No pressure.
No pressure. Any gold 1 stars are going to get some great information. And then by Ben Collins Siegel, the other student here with us this evening. I have it said keyboard percussion, but you played piano for this, right? I mean, is that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Ben also scored a 29 out of 30 for his performance as well. So, three of the top scores, and not an easy rubric. And Mr. T knows that because he was on the committee designing the rubric way back in the fall. So that was another thing that we were trying to be intentional about, was to make sure that the rubric covered all the bases, as many as possible covered. So let's hear from the students. Skywalker, can you tell us a little bit about your preparation for and the performance for the festival, sir?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So I played Sandu, which is a blues for this festival, and while on the surface, like, the melody is kind of simple, I think the hard part about it is just getting that swing feel. And so throughout the entire piece, so I think that's something that I worked with Mr. T a lot on, trying to play the melody as smooth as possible and getting the right articulations and emphasis at certain points. And for the solo itself, I guess I also tried to, the main focus was just getting that rhythm, that swing feel across the entire solo, and just incorporating as much language as possible as well.
Very cool. Yeah, Skywalker, would you mind, what year are you in school? Where are you in school?
Right now I'm a junior in high school.
Junior. Great. Thanks very much. Ben Schwartz, you want to tell us a little bit about your selection and process?
Yeah, sure. So for this, I played Philly, which is it's in the name. It's like a Philly Joe Jones style drum solo, and it's chock full of tons of great Philly Joe Jones vocabulary, and that's what really drew me towards it. Like, a lot of the stuff in there is really, really authentic and usable in numerous different situations, and I really enjoyed that. And it was especially interesting, just as you were saying about how it's a different year and it's virtual, so you can really get into the technology side of things. So I tried to mix my audio and get good camera angles and stuff like that, because when you're not in person, you obviously have the ability to control what the final take is, and you don't have to get it the first try. And I had a really good time learning this and trying to make everything like not just playing what's on the page, trying to extend it through a lot of listening, learn where this stuff is coming from, because a lot of this stuff is straight from the source. So yeah, I had a very, very good time playing it.
It's wonderful. Yeah, that's great insight. I love the insight you mentioned about, being self-assessing and critical of, how you look and sound, right? And I should tell everybody who's watching and listening, though, no editing of the footage. So it's not like you could take the first 3 minutes and you're happy with it and take the next 30 seconds and then punch in and make all these edits, right? It's just a matter of, okay, you're choosing among, maybe 10 or 12 takes, the best take to submit. So there's a lot of self-assessing going on. It's great stuff, Ben. Thank you. And Ben Collins-Siegel, you want to tell us a little bit about what you went through, sir?
Yeah, so I chose All the Things You Are, which is obviously a very popular standard. So I tried to incorporate, a lot of my influences and really try to put together the best story I could while playing that tune.
Awesome. Mr. T, I mean, I don't know if we discussed this last week, and please remind me, are any of these students going to play for us tonight?
You know what? I don't think we discussed it. I think, Ben, are you in front of a piano?
Yeah.
I think Ben is game. Ben's always game to play.
Are you okay for that, Ben? Can I put you on the spot? Play a little bit of your tune, if you don't mind.
Okay. Or should I just the tune I auditioned?
Whatever you want to play, Ben.
Sorry, what?
I said whatever you want to play.
Okay. This is an arrangement I kind of put together for Embraceable Views.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
Swinging,
How
man.
great is that? How great is that? And I asked Skywalker, Ben, what's your year in school? Where are you at in your schooling, sir?
I'm in 8th grade.
In 8th grade. And Ben Schwartz, where are you in school?
I'm a freshman.
Freshman. So at Ben Collins-Siegel in 8th grade, I can barely tie my shoes. So you're in a whole different place there. The language that you're speaking there is pretty impressive stuff. So keep on keeping on, all of you. Let's talk a little bit more. I mean, how about some of the feedback that you got from the adjudicators? Can you talk to us about, I know we had actually, anybody here have, no, I think one of our jazz judges was Mike Mossman. He had some technical issues, which were rectified, but everybody was able to hear their feedback, right? And get the information. What can you, Skywalker, let's go back to you. What were you able to glean from the advice or the recommendations of the adjudicator?
Yeah, I think the biggest piece of advice I got was just, it was from my judge was Alexa Tarantino. And what she told me was to focus more on telling a story and building up to a climax and then coming back down to home. And that's something I definitely, struggled on in my first take, because obviously this is an audition. So I kind of focused too much on putting as much as I could into the solo without really understanding that a solo is about musicality. It's about telling a story. And so I think that's what I took away from her advice.
That's beautiful. Thank you. How about Ben Schwartz? What do you got? What did you take away, sir?
The piece that I played was very, very technical. There were some spots that really you got to really go in and figure out the stickings, because playing it a different sticking completely changes the sound. It completely changes the expressiveness. And the feedback I got was really trying to dig into those specific spots. Like there was a lot of very rudimentary stuff, because that's a lot of Philly Joe's stuff was very different triplet variations on triplets of rudiments and stuff like that. And there was some really killing spots in there that you really have to get into the technicalities and just the stickings and all of that stuff. So that was some of the feedback that I got, and I'm definitely going to try and get better at getting into those different spots.
I appreciate that. Thanks very much for sharing that. And how about you, Ben Collins-Siegel? What did you take away?
Yeah, I don't think I got an email about the feedback. But
Okay. Okay. Well, you know what, Ben? Why don't you? Did you register yourself, or did somebody register you?
Mr. T did.
All right. We'll work out how to get it to you. No problem.
Okay.
We'll work that out. Well, I wish I knew sooner. I'd be able to hook you up. It's okay. It's a new system and it's a new process. But the good news is all that feedback is archived on the competition suite from a past event. So all you have to do is get in there, and you can download it and save it if you wish. So no problem. We'll get that to you. No problem.
Okay.
Mr. Slocum, Mr. T, Mr. Tantino, anything else you want to, because you guys are going to remain while the other students come on. But what else about the experiences of these students, and maybe Noah, you want to share with folks that may be thinking about joining us for the spring?
Right. I mean, these are the top students in NOAA that got the gold rating, but we had, I know myself, I registered 20 kids, and they all, I was proud of all their entries. They learned so much, and some of them are going to be trying it again to try to either get to that next step or just learn a new piece. It was just a great process, and I'm very proud of these students, obviously, in NOAA. I'm very lucky to have such dedicated students that really inspire me, and so during this was such a tough year, and I haven't really spent as much time as I'd like with these guys individually or as a group, because it just hasn't worked out that way with COVID. But I just want to let them know publicly that how much I appreciate their efforts, and I'm looking forward to kind of getting back to the grind with these guys. Ben and Ben, we're going to try and play in the morning tomorrow, right? All right.
How about you, Mr. Slocum?
Yeah, I just think it was really cool that you all did this, because it's been tricky for myself, and I think for the students, just to have like something concrete on the calendar, like a nice goal to just work towards. And this was cool, special, and yeah, so I dug it. Thanks for
You're absolutely. I was really thrilled that I always mess up this name, but is it the New Jersey Jazz Educators Association, right? NJYS, right? That they were able to work out to have their auditions remotely. So I was really glad that they were able to work with their infrastructure and get that opportunity out for students to be able to make it happen, because they deserve it. I mean, they deserve every opportunity to be, even if nothing else, just to meet one another from different campuses and share stories like this and information like this. Hearing Ben and Skywalker and Ben talk about getting into the changes and telling a story with their music, and just talking about the art form makes us better. So I was very, very much appreciated all that. So Ben and Skywalker, you guys you're returning for the state festival, right? What's your goal? What do you want to? What's your role to improve? I heard a little bit about it, but what are you setting out to do in this next round? Let's go with Ben Collins first.
I'm not sure. I mean, what the kind of whole next round is, but definitely looking to, really get into the state competition. So.
Awesome. Thank you, Ben. How about you, Ben Schwartz?
For the next level, I'm really looking forward to getting feedback from John Riley. Obviously, I think I'm probably gonna stay along the lines with Philly and try and get some work in on 2-bass hit, and I think I'm gonna try and transcribe that for the state festival and to show John Riley. So it would be really. I'm just really looking forward to hear what he has to say, because he's a guy whose books I've been reading out of for however many years, and just watching his performances. And yeah, I really look up to him. So I'm very excited for the state festival.
Awesome. Thank you. And how about you, Skywalker?
Yeah, so it's super unfortunate, but I actually suffered like a hand injury
Oh, no.
after submitting my first take, which got me that gold star rating. And so I guess my goal for the state festival is just to participate in any way I can, like whether it be like this, these interviews, or any other possible way. I think just participating and just giving back to this community is my goal.
Well, I appreciate that. I mean, just so you know, I don't know, I don't want to put any pressure on you, but the videos aren't due until May 1st through the 15th. So I don't know what kind of remediation or therapy you're going through. Mr. T is shaking his head. It's hurting.
He broke some bones. It's gonna be a while.
Oh no, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
I'm
what
sorry.
happens when you mess with me, man.
I've seen some of that. Yeah. He's talking about dedication. I know where the dedication comes from. It's the hammer.
Yes.
Well, listen, Ben, and Skywalker, thank you so much for being here tonight and sharing your passion, your music, and your stories with us. I am going to have to remove you from the studio and bring in a couple of other students from the New Jersey Youth Symphony Jazz Program who are with us. I know there's a couple in the green room and hopefully another on their way. But thanks again for being here, and I look forward to watching your performances for the upcoming. Well, 2 of the 3 of you for the upcoming festival, and I hope, Skywalker, I hope you heal well and speedily, sir. Take care, guys. I'll talk to you soon.
Great job, y'all.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Absolutely. All right, so let us bring in, we have Ryoma Takanaka and Luke Tan. And are we expecting Oliver Koenig?
I hope so. Let me just double check. I'm not sure.
Yeah, if you want to reach out and give him a reminder, hopefully he's on. Ryoma, how are you, sir? Good to see you again.
Good to see you too. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And Luke, you and Mr. Slocum are like regular guests on this stream, it seems, huh?
Hello, Mr. Argo. Thank you for having me too.
Great to see you again, sir. So let's get right to it. Thanks again for being here, guys. Ryoma, for everybody who's watching at home, is a bassist, and Ryoma got a perfect score of 30 and a gold 1 star from his adjudicator. You had Mr. Robertson adjudicate you, right? Brandon Robertson?
Correct.
Absolutely. And Luke Tan received a 29 on his drum set video in the jazz category. Correct, Luke?
Yes.
Absolutely. And if you were watching last week and Luke looks familiar, it's because Luke also was a gold 1 star winner in the concert snare area. Am I correct in remembering that, Luke? Excellent. So he gold 1 star in 2 categories. So let's talk a little bit let's start off with Ryoma, please. Ryoma, what year are you in now?
I'm a junior.
Junior. Outstanding. So you're getting inundated with all the college stuff now, right?
Yeah, right now is the prime time for that stuff.
Absolutely. So can you tell us a little bit about your journey with the festival, how you found out about it, how you selected your piece and got ready for it, a little bit of that?
Yeah, so I originally found out about this opportunity from Julius after I found out that regionals wouldn't be happening and things like that. And I found this to be an opportunity for me to get to play and perform in front of not an audience, but be analytical about my playing and get judged on my playing, which is really helpful from my perspective because it allows me to kind of hear what's going on and critique my playing from a different perspective. You know, when you're stuck inside and quarantine, one of the hard things is to kind of hear an outside perspective. And I feel like this opportunity or this program gave me that opportunity. So I chose to play the song Olio, which is by Sonny Rollins, and it's a really kind of bebop tune, and it's been one of my favorite tunes for a really long time. So it was really nice to be able to play that. And one of the things that I kind of struggled on was one, getting the really intricate melody down on the bass, especially because it's a lot of shifting on the bass, and that's something that is really important, especially to get a clean and precise sound out of the instrument while portraying or playing the melody how it was intended to be played. And so that's something that I struggled with, but I was glad to be able to submit a good tape and get a good score.
Very cool. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for that, Rioma. How about you, Luke?
So yeah, I had a similar experience. I think I first learned of this program through one of the people at school. I believe it might have been my band director, but that was really only for orchestra, and I hadn't really thought about the jazz side of things. So it was very fortunate that Mr. Slocum recommended that he recommended a set of solos that I should take a look at, and I eventually settled on Philly, and I practiced it a lot, and it was really helpful to hear some comments from the judges because, as Rioma said, especially at this time, I've only been really hearing voices of myself, but also my teachers, and having another external voice talk about my playing was also really helpful.
That's wonderful, wonderful. So, Mr. Tolentino, can you tell us, the folks that are watching? I know your roles, or at least my perspective of your roles as a teacher at Newark Academy and as a director of jazz at the New Jersey Youth Symphony Jazz Program. But can you tell us a little bit about this program that's different from your teaching program, so for folks who don't know about it?
Yeah, well, NJYS, we just started the jazz portion of the program about 3 years ago. No, actually, there's been a jazz program before that. This is when I came on board, I brought a big band. So it was the first time we added the big bands, and we have 2 big bands and I don't know, maybe 8 or 9 combos and a sax ensemble. And we meet 1 day a week. And it's only been 3 years, but the program has really grown, and we've been fortunate to have really strong players right from the get-go. Luke and Rioma have been there from the beginning, and it's attracting a lot of great players like that. And these guys are now the elder statesmen. Luke is actually an elder statesman now of the program, and they lead by example. These guys are super dedicated, and we have a young bassist coming all the way from South Jersey, and she met Rioma for the first time, and I could see that she maybe necessarily wasn't around like people that were as interested in music as her, and just having these guys be around each other and inspire each other. They just the maturity in their playing is just growing leaps and bounds because of that, and the great faculty we have and the music that we select. And these guys went to Mingus last year in the combo and the big band, and that was our first year doing it, and they've just been on fire ever since. So it's been a great process to have that program. The school program is a Newark Academy is a private school in Livingston, New Jersey, and I've been there for, I think it's my 14th year.
Wow.
And yeah, we have a ton of big bands and wind ensemble and a full orchestra. So it's just like any other school program, but we really try to do things at a high level with the jazz program, and it's been an awesome process.
Yeah, you're a little bit. I don't want to put you on the spot here. You're being a little humble, Mr. Tolentino. You keep talking about you're lucky to have great students, but it's a little bit of a reciprocity there. I know your work, sir. You make them that way, and the standard that you set. And I see a grin from Luke and Rioma, and I think they could agree with me that it's pretty clear the standards that you expect, and you get the kids to meet those standards and exceed them at some point. So I think it's kind of a symbiotic greatness that's going on there. So I kind of saw that. Yeah, I saw that program kind of start, and the severe trajectory it's taking and its successes is pretty impressive. So you're to be congratulated on not only the quantity, but the quality of work that goes on there. So it's great stuff. It's great stuff. So Rioma, you're a junior. Luke, what year are you in, Luke?
I'm in 9th grade.
Ninth grade. So maybe a little soon for you, maybe not. I mean, are you looking, guys, at a post-secondary career in performance, in jazz performance? What's your plans? You're like, oh, Dan, don't talk to me about that. My mom's listening. I got told I want to be a lawyer. What do you think?
Yeah, so currently, right now, I'm really interested in computer science, and so that's kind of the major that or career that I'm trying to pursue. But music has played such a big role in my life that I'm planning to stay near the city, near the area, to continue playing and kind of try to stay on the scene while working on my own career paths, I guess.
That's awesome. But you're not going to give up the bass.
Definitely not.
You're a bass player, man. You're going to have gigs all the time anyway. Yeah.
You had no choice with that. You had no choice. How about you, Luke? I know ninth grade seems like I'll have a lot of time to think about it. What do you think?
Yeah, so I haven't really given that much thought into what college is going to be like and stuff, but I'm probably going to maybe do something engineering related. I at this point, I don't really have an idea, but one thing is for sure that in college, I definitely still want to be playing the drums in some way, shape, or form, and hopefully still like performing at some level.
It's awesome. Awesome.
Mr. Argle, I'm sorry to interrupt. We do have, I think Oliver might be in the waiting room or the green or backstage. He popped on late.
I don't see him.
Oh, okay.
I don't see him to bring him on.
You know what? Maybe I sent him the wrong the wrong address. Let me send the other address.
Okay. Yeah, if he can pop on, I'd love to hear from him. Mr. Slocum, while Mr. T's doing it, can you share what kind of events, if anything, are coming up at Newark Academy or the New Jersey Youth Symphony that we can look out for in the near future or distant future? What do you got coming up?
Well, they just had Mr. T organize these auditions at Newark Academy, which are, I was just thinking about this. You were talking about the trajectory of the program that he's created there. And I mean, it was like crazy. There's like more than a dozen drummers auditioning now, all of them high level. And I was thinking back like 8 or 10 years ago, it was like, we just try to get one solid drummer just to hold it down and stuff. So it just had that. And I think they're working on maybe trying to put together a little like outdoor concert or something at the end of the year for New Jersey Youth Symphony. So
that's great.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Anything else, Mr. T, you want to share with us?
No, I mean, that's what we're hoping to do some live concerts the end of the year with both programs, and just try to have a really great summer. Hopefully, doing more playing. I run a summer camp at NJYS, J Toll Music summer workshop. These guys have participated several years, and we try to do a little festival at the end of the camp. So, hoping to get the word out about that. Maybe if anybody's interested in going to a jazz camp, they'll look us up, and you can find.
When does that take place, sir?
That is, I think, July 12th to the 24th. It's a 2-week program.
Okay. And they can go to the New Jersey Youth Symphony Jazz page to check it out.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, guys, thank you so much for being here this evening with us. We'll take a couple of minutes to wrap up. We're going to have another guest coming on. Again, Rioma, Luke, great to see you both again. Mr. Slocum, Mr. Talentino. I look forward to your performances for the State Festival. And until the next time, we'll see you soon. Okay, guys? Peace. Take care.
Thanks. Good to see you guys.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've got another guest to come on to wrap up this evening. I'm very happy and privileged to bring on a gentleman who I've known for a while now, Mr. Lee Hogans.
Hi, Dennis. Thanks for having me. Really,
you're welcome, sir. How are you?
Good. I wish I could have said hi to Julius. I haven't seen him in so long. It was great to see your conversation, and also to see Ben Collins-Siegel and Ben Schwartz as well. So
yeah,
thanks for having
me. Like a reunion, right?
Yeah. Julius.
And I'm sorry, we had another student, Oliver Koenig, who studies with Julius's program as well. I'm sorry that we weren't able to go on. Hopefully we'll have another opportunity to address and highlight and spotlight the jazz community a little bit more and our kids that participate in that art form. And I'd love to have Oliver back because it's been a couple of years since I heard him play, and he was he was terrific as a young high school player then. So,
Definitely.
but I have you here this evening because Arts Ed New Jersey and the sponsors of the festival are very happy to be collaborating with a new partner with our students and with our programs. And so I brought Lee Hogans, who's the Director of Music and Education for Jazz House Kids, on this evening. And I'll turn it over to you, Lee. You want to tell us what we got, what to expect with Jazz House Kids?
Yeah, thanks again for having us, Dennis. Really appreciate being here. And before I talk about our partnership, I just want to say it's great to work with you again. We've worked in the past before. I worked for you, so it's awesome to reconnect. And I really appreciate your sincerity and your passion for teaching music education. So it's great to work with you again. Really appreciate that. So the reason I'm on is to talk about our partnership. Jazz House Kids has partnered with the New Jersey Solo and Ensemble Festival. And I know earlier you guys were talking about the auditions and talking to these incredible students who had the auditions. And what Jazz House Kids is very thrilled to announce is that we want to invite all the auditioners in the jazz category to a clinic that we are going to host. That's going to be hosted through Jazz House Kids, and that's going to, sort of reward the students for auditioning and also reward the students who were the Gold Star auditioners as well, and honor them in a way. So we're working out a clinic. We have a tentative date now. The date is May 22nd, and we'll have more information coming up pretty soon. And a little bit about what we're working for this clinic, or we're getting together for this clinic, is we're going to have our artistic director and 7-time Grammy-winning bassist, Christian McBride, do a talk during this clinic. So I think that's going to be great for the students to experience that. Even though I work with him, every time that I hear him talk and every time that I'm a part of his, clinics or what he's saying, it's always like gets me excited. So I think the students are really, really going to enjoy this. And we're gonna break this up into 3 parts. We're gonna have kind of a general subject part where we talk about certain things like jazz jam session etiquette, where we talk about this will involve all the students at once. So it'll be about like etiquette. It'll be about what to do after school, going to college for jazz, or also some of the things that you can look forward to being a professional musician as well. So that'll be kind of a general topic first. And then we'll move into having a talk with Christian McBride. This will be a time for the students to pick his brain. He's got tons and tons of stories because of all the experiences he's had. So this will be time to talk to him, ask him questions, pick his brain, and hear some of his stories. And then we'll have a third segment of this clinic where we'll break out into breakout rooms, and we'll talk about different, more specific items like advanced improv, advanced techniques on your horn, advanced theory, and theory in general as well. And for those, for the first segment and for the third segment, we'll have some of our great faculty who will teach those classes. And then Christian will give the talk in the middle. So that's what we have in store now. There's going to be more information with that, which will pass through Arts Ed. And we just really appreciate being involved with this. And we're really looking forward to this.
Yeah, I'm so excited. Lee, when we started these discussions, it was great. It was great when the discussions first started. We were talking about recognizing, rewarding the accomplishments of the Gold 1-star students. There's a couple other partnerships we're working on that I have to kind of wait until they're confirmed. But Jazz House was amazing in our second meeting when you came back and said we'd like to offer this to all the students. that participated in the jazz category, not just the one gold, 1 star. I was just over the moon happy about that.
But we do have something specific, special for them as well too,
Sure.
because I think it's important that they get notified and honored for the work that they put into it. So we will definitely honor the gold star students as well. But we do want to open this up to all the jazz auditioners.
That's awesome. Very much appreciated. You mentioned Christian. The faculty and the team there is amazing. So anybody who's teaching composition, how to do a jazz gig, or get into college, all those folks that I'm sure you're going to have lined up. Lots of great information for the kids, and it'll be a great experience. And when I worked, you could hear Christian talk about paint swatches, and it's interesting and beautiful. So to hear him talk to these kids about the music is just going to be a great experience. So I put my name and artsednewjersey.org email address, because I'm sure some of the students that might be watching that were jazz registrants might be going, wait, does this affect me too? Yes, it does. If you registered to perform in the jazz category, for the Winter Festival and the Spring Festival, you're going to have the opportunity to take advantage of this through Jazz House Kids. We got other partnerships we're working on. We're trying to reward all the accomplishments of the students, but this is a special one I'm very happy to announce this evening. So if you have questions, please email me when we get the date and the times confirmed with Lee and the team at Jazz House. I'll be able to share that in a more intentional announcement, but we're really thrilled to be able to share that tonight, and look forward to hopefully a long and fruitful partnership with Arts Ed New Jersey, Jazz House Kids, and rewarding the kids who we had Julius on with his program, New Jersey Youth Symphony Jazz Program, and he's got some plans for next year as well. He was an integral part in putting together the rubrics for the jazz students, and obviously he had almost 30 of his students in both camps participate. So we're looking to really nurture that art form. This is jazz band season, so hopefully we get a lot more registrations and performers for the spring in that area, because we know it's America's art form. So very happy to be supporting it. Anything else you want to share with us, Lee, or do we cover it?
You've covered it. Like you said, Dennis, we'll have more information to spread, and thank you so much for having us on. We really appreciate it at Jazz House Kids.
All right, thanks again. This is the website for the Arts Ed site for the festival. If you're still interested in registering jazz or other categories, we have alternate ensembles, rock ensembles, solo, any ensemble or solo. That's the website. We have until next Thursday to register. Look forward to seeing you perform for us in the spring. Good night, and I'll see you next week. Same time, same station. Have a great week, guys.